Hi, my name is Casey, and today we are going to be taking vital signs. This is my horse Sherlock and my handler Casey. Overall, we're going to start with looking at Sherlock's physique and health. He's pretty shiny. He is a little overweight, but he's recently been put on a diet, so that's okay. Next, I'm going to look at Sherlock's mucous membranes. We can look in the conjunctiva of his eye or at his gums. So first, we're going to look at his gums because that'll make him happier. So I'm going to look at his gums, and they appear to be pink and moist, so that's good. Some colors you might see that would indicate a problem would be red, which is fever and infection, bluish purple, which could be lack of oxygen, yellow, which indicates jaundice, and pale, which could be a sign of shock. What else you can look at when you're looking at their mucous membranes is their capillary refill time. So next we're going to take his capillary refills, which is on his mucous membranes of his gums. You want to make sure that they're pink and moist, and then when you press down, they should feel moist, and when you take your thumb off, it should refill within 1 to 2 seconds, which his did. The next test for hydration, like the capillary refill test, is the skin pinch test. And you should see the results from this test within 1 to 2 seconds. To do this, we're going to go on the thickest part of his neck and just pinch a little bit of the skin and let go. And it should refill within 1 to 2 seconds. When taking the skin pinch test, you could see a few different results. If your skin doesn't fall down or it tense up after 1 to 2 seconds, that could mean that your horse is old and doesn't have as good skin pliability, or that your horse is dehydrated. Next, we're going to look for Sherlock's pulse rate. His pulse rate should fall between 32 and 44 beats per minute. To find this, you want to feel under his jaw for the maxillary artery, which is going to feel kind of like a noodle. So you're going to feel around, and then you're going to get someone to time it for you for 10 seconds, and then you will multiply the number of beats you found times 6. Another place that you can find the pulse is on his knee, back of his knee, which is at the radial artery, or called the radial pulse. And you should be able to find that all the time. Now I'm going to demonstrate finding the heart rate. So I'm going to feel around for his maxillary artery, and then I'm going to get my helper to count to 10 for me, 10 seconds, and I'm going to count the number of pulses I feel. I'm going to feel around for what feels like a noodle, and then once I find it, I'm going to have someone time it for 10 seconds, and then I'll multiply that number by 6. Okay, I found it. Ready, go. Whoa, Sherlock. And stop. All right, I counted 6 beats, so 6 times 6 is 36, and that falls well within the normal range. The last place that you might be able to feel a pulse is in the digital pulse, which is down here, and you're going to feel on the outside of the fetlock. Now, you shouldn't be able to feel it unless your horse has a problem in his hoof, like an abscess, a hot nail, and possibly him foundering. So I'm going to feel around, and I don't really feel anything at all. So that means that he has good feeding. The next thing that we're going to look at is his heart rate. You should find his heart rate on the skinniest part of his heart girth right behind his elbow. His heart rate falls in the normal range of 32 to 44 beats per minute, and it should be the same as his pulse rate. And now I'm going to demonstrate finding Sherlock's heart rate. I'm going to feel around under his elbow. Okay, start the timer. Stop. All right, and during that, I've also counted 6 beats in 10 seconds, so 6 times 6 is 36, which falls well within the normal range. Next, we're going to take Sherlock's respiration rate. When you take the respiration rate, you want to stand off to the side and watch his flank move in and out. You don't usually want to watch their nose because they could be smelling unusual smells on your hands or around the barn. When you're taking the respiration rate, it should be between 8 to 16 breaths per minute. If your respiration rate is inverted, then that means they are breathing faster than their heart's beating, which could indicate a serious problem. Now I'm going to demonstrate taking the respiration rate. So I'm going to watch his flank move for 15 seconds and then multiply the number of breaths I see times 4. And now I'm going to demonstrate finding Sherlock's respiration rate. I'm going to watch his flank move for 15 seconds and have someone time it, and that'll give me his respiration rate. Ready? Go. Whoa. Stop. All right, I counted 3 breaths, and 3 times 4 is 12, which falls well within the normal range. The next thing we're going to look for is Sherlock's gut sounds. You want to check gut sounds first, especially if you think your horse is colicking. To find your gut sounds, you're going to place your ear on all 4 quadrants, left and right side, top and bottom of your horse. When you're listening for your gut sound, it's good to hear a constant grumbling sound because that means he's digesting food and his GI tract is working. There's a few problematical sounds you can hear, which would be pinging or rushing water, which means he probably has a hypermodal gut, and dead air, which means that he probably has an impaction somewhere. It's very important that you listen to all 4 because one quadrant of his GI tract could have a problem when the other 3 are not having problems.
Go.
Now I'm going to demonstrate finding them. I'm going to lay my ear right on his side, facing his legs, so that way I can see if he's going to try and kick me. I'm going to move to the other side. And Sherlock had gut sounds in all 4 quadrants, so that means that his GI tract is healthy. The last thing you're going to check is temperature. When you're checking the temperature, you can use either a digital thermometer, which will read faster, but usually reads a little bit lower, or a mercury thermometer, which is more accurate, but takes a lot more time. When you're using a thermometer, you want to use petroleum jelly, so that way when you stick the thermometer into the horse's rectum, it slides in easily. And then you want to wipe it off with your towel after you take it. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate how to use the digital thermometer. I'm going to take the petroleum jelly and wipe it on the end so that way this slides nicely into his rectum. And then I'm going to take and kind of pat him a little bit and stand off to the side. And I'm going to move his tail over and slide it in slightly diagonally so that way I get the rectum wall, the temperature of the horse, not the temperature of his manure. Then I'm going to click the button so that way it reads his temperature and wait.
Go.
Okay, so I just removed the thermometer because it beeped, and his temperature reads 99.3, which is a little below the average, which is 99.5 to 101.5. But that's okay because this thermometer reads a little bit lower, and it's very cold outside today. Next, since his temperature was a little bit lower on the digital thermometer, I'm going to use this mercury thermometer just to make sure that he falls in the normal range. To do this, you're going to do the same thing. Wipe the petroleum jelly on the end of it just a little bit, so that way it slides in nicely. And then you want to make sure you shake it down well below 98 degrees, so that way you get the actual temperature of your horse and not the temperature of a previous horse or the outside. And then you're going to do the same thing, stand off to the side, move his tail over, and slide it in a little bit diagonally, so that way it hits his rectum wall, and you get the temperature of your horse, not the manure. And then our thermometers have a clip, and you're going to clip that onto his tail. You want to clip it to his tail because you have to leave this thermometer in for 2 minutes. You will want to get the person either handling your horse or another person to time it for 2 minutes, so that way you can get this temperature. 2 minutes have passed, so I pull my thermometer out, and I'm going to wipe it off with my towel, and then look for the silver line to find his temperature. This line falls right at 99.5 degrees, which is a little bit higher than the digital thermometer read, but within the range, so I don't have to be worried about him having a fever.
Action.
Thank you for taking Vital Signs with me and Sherlock. Catch you next time in Keeper 2 videos.